What we got going on? Oh my goodness. And the screen is not still like I want it to be. We're just gonna keep on going. What's up? Oh my goodness. I was just in there and just cooking and going crazy. Not really. I was just in there talking to my kids and we were just having such a wonderful conversation. And she was just telling me about a friend whose parent is getting a divorce. And it was kind of interesting just to hear from her perspective, like what her friend is going through as her parents getting the divorce. And it's just interesting just to hear from a kid. She's 14. Hear from another kid's perspective about another kid's parent about getting a divorce. And I was like, oh, I was like, I wonder if he's getting help. And she was like, oh, his cousin's a therapist. I was like, oh, okay, that's good. She's cross-eyed though. I said, you need to stop. I was like, you need to leave people alone and stop talking about people. What's up? I hope y'all doing good. We're gonna have part 2. I had a guest and she could make it, so she's gonna reschedule. And she is a psychotherapist along with a hypnotherapist and light worker from the church. And I think that's such a really cool combination. But last week we were talking about, of course, we went over the differences between mental health and spiritual health, considering that it's Health Awareness Month. And of course, I want to welcome to the stage that we still have Miss Deidre. She is in the building live with us. I appreciate Miss Deidre for everything that she does. One of the most craziest thing happened. We were busy this week, and I must say that I did actually go through or have an experience, because I didn't talk to Deidre this week, and I had and it's fine, but I still had a mental, and I had an experience like I missed something. Like it was weird. And we talked every week for a long time, for I don't know, 3 months. We've talked every week, and so just this week is just kind of like, what's going on? I knew it was fine, but it was just related to our connection and what we're doing and what we're building and carrying on. I really am 100% solid that we are here, Expanded Conscious Community. We are carrying on just as the late and great Bishop Carlton Pearson had proposed, in that we're going to carry on with what we were working on, and that is understanding and connecting to the expansion of consciousness and being able to branch out. Deidre, I wanted to get your perspective real quick. And I think this is really beautiful. And I think this is really timely, of a question I received last week. I have to log into my stuff here. And it was related to expanded consciousness and believers and non-believers. And I'll get to that question here soon. And this evening, if you guys, and I'll pull you right back up in a second so she could still work. Ms. Deidre can work. If you have any questions, I want to make sure that you guys prepare and think about any questions you have. Of course, whoever's in the room, I want to go ahead and mention and see who's in the room, but we're going to get straight to this. All right, there it is. Miss Marie had a beautiful question. And what that question opened up to me is like, I really need to get inside this, our Patreon group, and we really need to go deep into terms of like Expanded Conscious 101 and what it looks like, what it is. Because the thing is like, It's not a belief system. It's not a religion, right? It's one of those things that just is like something that is happening, right? There's something that is happening within us, around us. Is something that is us. It's beyond us. And so I think it's really beautiful, and I really appreciate everyone that's participate, that's in the room. Don't forget, we can like and share this so that people can know that we're on. I'm not necessarily trying to get a whole bunch of people just to have a bunch of people. I know for a fact that there are a lot of people in today that are contemplating, asking questions, deconstructing their belief systems. And I like people to deconstruct their reality. Is what you the great question, and it's related to this music that I'm pretty much done with and working on the other elements in. But it goes back to that question Bishop Carlton Pearson said, and that is asking the question, what do you believe? Why do you believe it? And how do those beliefs add to or subtract to the quality of your life? And I know that we can actually go deeper and further in terms of like, what do I believe? Why do I believe it? And you know what else? It can be really difficult to ask that question. Very difficult to ask that question. To ask any questions that have to do with my beliefs. What do I believe? Because really, it's like, what do you believe? Why do you believe it? And how do those beliefs add to or subtract to the quality of your lives? Check this out. What do you know? How do you know that you know that? And how does that add to your or subtract? You know that if you jump out in front of a bus, you could believe that you might get hit. But I know that if you do it right, I know you will get hit. Kind of, I was talking to someone today. It's like, you know who your mother is, right? You know who she is. You might, some people believe who their daddy is. I believe that's my daddy. But the thing is, you come out your mama. It's hard to run from that. These questions and things that I'm talking about are things that can put us into a contemplation. It can put us into a space that makes it hard for us, right? Outside of the spaces that we have, that we can be 100% or at least 85% of who we are in the expanded conscious space here that we have developed all together. You get to be at least 75% of who you really are. Like, you can open up and you can say, I don't know if I believe this, and I don't know if I believe that. And the question is, how does this relate to your mental health? A lot of us are having issues or problems, right? And we all go through things, but a lot of issues, problems that people are having within their life related to their mental health comes from the fact that they have a cognitive dissonance, right? A cognitive dissonance. We're gonna go ahead and we're gonna go ahead and slap that on the screen there, right? I got that, Miss D. I have it just because. Yes. Okay, it cut off some of these words. The psychological discomfort experienced when holding two conflicting beliefs or values, or when acting in a way that contradicts one's beliefs. It goes on to say that this discomfort motivates individuals to try and reduce it by often changing their beliefs, behaviors, or seeking new information to justify their actions. We're not, I'm not going to go too deep into just the psychology, but a cognitive dissonance is a mental discomfort that results in holding two conflicting beliefs or values and attitudes. Let's just so you know, the when people deal with complex post-traumatic stress syndrome, so within religion, it's a complexity of things that you will deal with. I heard the other day talking about how PTSD, post-traumatic stress, it's almost like a scar or wound that happens within the psyche, or within the, not necessarily like in the brain. You can't see the scars, but it's like it's something that's an imprint, and it's like, and it can be healed, and sometimes it can't be healed. There was a thing that I just read, no, I was watching, and it was like the minute that someone can have a debriefing within a military struck situation, it was like if they would play the game of Tetris, it would do something within their mind, their memory, that can actually not let that PTSD set in. And within religion, it's like there's so many different psychological things you can go through within it, and there's so much psychology that is used unknowingly, knowingly, unknowingly. You truly believe it. You believe what they say. They believe what they say. They don't even know what they're saying is true. They just done it because this one done it, this one done it, and that one done it. And you know the little thing about grandma and the father, and then his mother-in-law was making a ham or something like that. His wife was making a ham, and she would cut off the ends of the ham. And she was like, he was like, why you cut the ends of ham off like that? And she was like, oh, mama used to do that, because, and I think it's because the juices and everything else can kind of come in there. And he was like, that just doesn't make any sense. And he asked his mother-in-law, he's like, why is it that your daughter cuts off the ends of the ham before she cooks this meal? And she was like, because I never had that pan that would fit the whole ham. So she was keeping up with this useless tradition and calling it fate. I mean, calling it an actual thing, like that's the saying, until you let until the unconscious becomes conscious, it will direct your life and you'll call it fate. People will have to break away from a lot of the stuff that's in the church today. And with the current administration, presidential, we are finding out real vividly between all the various mental illness, not mental health, just the mental illness that is functioning within this large, very established organization we call the government. And the reason why what I'm talking about is very, very, very important. If a lot of the people was able to deconstruct their faith and not necessarily believe every single thing that they have been told within the fundamentalist church, we most likely would not be in this confusion, this chaos. If you look up, I looked up the other day. If you look up the statistic of the 2024 election, voters of faith overwhelmingly picked Donald Trump. Overwhelmingly. Right? They knew and they know that those people are psychologically locked in so deep that they will figure out a way to make anything you say to be gospel. It's changing for some. But this thing, according to the 2024 post-election American Value Survey, white Christians, including Latter-day Saints, comprised of 41% of voters who voted 72% in favor of Donald Trump. This vote was largely bolstered by the evangelical and Pentecostal voters who chose Trump by 81%. 81%. This is Mental Health Month. And I'm here to tell you that on this part 2, when we have something that is taking place in the entire country and this entire energy, right, that we're dealing with, and you have somebody that's a malignant narcissist that is the cups, and you have the ball in the cup, and they say, well, all right, where's the ball? Right? And they're doing that purposefully, trying to confuse you, trying to cause chaos, trying to make you, right, and using the other party's ignorance and the democratic ignorance and the democratic bureaucracy that needs to be fixed. Everyone as you pushed out, we have to own it, even though we are not fully it, but this country created this. It all started back with Barack Obama in 2008, following Barack Obama's presidency. Because they seen that black man in there and they like, oh my God. I think it's epigenetically stuck. I think it's like part of the DNA, like it's an epigenetic thing. Like all you got to do is just tap on it just a little bit. You just tap on that thing just a little bit, and the racism is so, and the hate and all that stuff is just right below the surface. And you know what? It's the religious racists that can get away with all of it. Get away with all of it. Right? This is leading me up to a statement, and I'm to the point where I just can't, I'm not being able to handle a lot of it. Right? And that is what I can't really handle is, I think this was in TFC, and there was some people talking about blackness in the church and people being concerned with more of their color identity and their blackness and what God is actually doing and how God is breaking up folk to actually not put their blackness before their Christianity. I went on that post I didn't go on the one that's in TFC. I went on the original poster, who is a Christian influencer. I don't know if he took it down. If I was him, I would have took my post down because I put a slave Bible. I copied it and put a slave Bible right there. And I'm like, you're exactly right. You need to get those Negroids back where they belong. They need to be doing exactly what you say. And they don't need to be thinking about their African spirituality. They don't need to, you don't need to be thinking about any of that. But that's what they're doing in the church in the first place. What are you talking about? That's what we were doing before. And now, to me, it's highly emotional, and we're really doing a lot of that stuff in the churches. Like, I'm to the point, like, I'm good. I think the praise dance has, I grew up with the praise dance, and I thought it was, it was fun, and it was, I believed it was the Holy Spirit and things was happening, but I think it's done. I think it's reached critical mass, right? Y'all jumping and shouting and keep doing it. But over here in Expanded Consciousness, I'm going to let you know. It's a highly emotional, unevolved, outward expression that has very little to do with any spirit that is making any major changes. You may be having a somatic experience, and it may be moving in your body, and it feels good. And the dopamine is kicking in along with the organ. I was programming it. I know how to program music that make you jump. It's easy. Anything that I could play an E flat because that's pretty much all the black keys. I don't work on my scales, never did. All we got to do is tune in, kick that Leslie on, kick that Leslie off. There's a vibration of frequency, and you say, man, the spirit is hot and the spirit is moving. Well, it sure is. It's moving in rock and roll with that same Leslie too. That same Leslie can get people that's doing rock and roll loving it, right? I'm sorry. I don't mean to hurt you. I'm not trying to. I'm just telling you the facts of the matter when it comes to our mental health and when it comes to the church and what we're doing. And as we running and jumping and doing all that stuff in these churches, Elon Musk, Peter Thiel, and all these engineers are using knowledge, and they're using understanding. And they're using even essences and understanding that y'all so locked in into doing that, y'all spirituality, that we get to just basically use the God that's within us as literally using the God that's within us, the power that's within us, to make changes to the world that you live in. It's time that we wake up. It's time that we have to get on the wagon. And I'm talking about, when I say we, I'm specifically talking about Black Americans. Period. And everybody else who's in that same vein or in that same space or understand, great. Thank you. We need you to, because across the board, we have medieval minds. Our consciousness is expanding and expounding. And I'm not talking about our consciousness. I'm talking about the consciousness. I'm talking about universe. I'm talking about galaxy, universe, cosmos. It's expanding. That's the reason why AI is doing what it's doing, and we don't know what to do. Because it's hit critical mass, and it's like, they've always had levels of AI, but then they said, boom, open AI, OPEN, open AI. Let's give everybody access. Let's give everybody access to these systems, and may the best player win. You think it's a game? You think it's a game? Well, it is. It is. And there are winners and there are losers. And 100%, this is all related to your mental health and how you feel and what we have to and need to do when it comes to expand our consciousness, expanding who you are, understanding like the understanding and connecting to, I'd say, metaphysical principles, understanding and also connecting to the ancient texts such as the scriptures, if by all means. I'm a Gnostics. I like and enjoy what Mr. Brother Thomas had to say. But there's a whole thing about the Gnostics and Thomas and what they were doing and what they did when they left out Thomas. It's proposed and it's believed that the writings of Thomas are older than the other writings on the theological debate. And if you look at the writings, the text and the way the text is within the Gospel of Thomas, it is an older style. A lot of this stuff, and the thing is, you talk about mental health. We talk about mental health. How much stuff have we been told that is true? That's why so many people believe in God and they believe in the gospel. Somebody told me the other day, do you believe? He's like, oh, he's an older white guy. He's sitting in big beard. I'm like, do you? He's like, yeah. And we was talking and he's kind of, I can tell he was not a churchgoer, but he's still he's a person that would be a man of faith, if you will. It's like, yeah, man, you believe in God? I looked at him dead inside. I was like, no, why would I believe in something that I know? He looked at me and was like, I like you. I like you. I like you. I like that. I said, do you know you? I said, do you know who your mama is? How do I know that I know God? I'm a mystic. I know God because who am I? Who are you? That's a whole. You can't say you're a God. It's all throughout the scriptures. The ancient texts, it's all throughout it. It's the whole message of Jesus, right? It's just we got the word God wrong when it comes to when we think of what that means. Because we think it's the ultimate deity and that deity is outside of us and it has to be outside of us. I believe the deity is outside of us. But I believe also the deity or the God is inside of us. I believe we have the ability to connect through energy, frequency, and vibration. And I don't even believe it. I know it. We're operating on it all the time. And it goes even deeper. And I'm not even going to go into the depth of the quantum realm and understanding what consciousness is. And when we start looking at the quote unquote God particle, what does that mean? What does all of this mean? We are really recreating and creating a lot of this, and we are breaking free. And the biggest problem that people are having, and the reason why we're dealing with so many different issues when it comes to whether it would be race, whether it would be government, a lot of it has to do with the fact that we have been breaking through through certain barriers. And when hello, Mr. Carl. And when it really hit a space when Barack Obama came into office, that shook people up. Oh, wait a minute. What's going on? What is he doing in here? Right. And the thing is just looking at what we're experiencing, looking at what you are experiencing. we have the ability to really connect to who we are and what we're experiencing. And when it comes to mental health, if you had not been to a therapist, if you're not working with someone outside of yourself, if you don't have people that could be honest with you, right? If you don't even have the ability to ask the right questions, right? There could be blocks. All of us can have them. We can have blocks, whether it would be mental blocks, some form of blocks. And those blocks can be, if you're open, those things can be revealed through your kids. It can be revealed through certain family members, or you can see what they're dealing with. A lot of people are dealing with things, and I'm here to tell you, and I believe us within this expanded conscious community, when we come here to have these dialogues and have these conversations, we are willing and opening up Pandora's box. For those who would say, don't watch that or listen to that or be careful, listen to them. It is very true. You should be very careful when coming over here because you might begin to ask questions. You might start asking some questions. And those questions might begin to lead to more questions and lead to more questions and lead to more questions. Because what is the ultimate thing in that why we are here in this existence, in this experience? A lot of things with, especially within the Abrahamic faiths, it's like the outer world, the heavens, is the ultimate goal. It's the ultimate goal for a lot of those people because this place is considered some level of misery. And I only think it's the ultimate goal for us in this era and time. It hasn't been 2,000 years of people focus, especially which I relate to as Christianity, but it hasn't been 2,000 years. If you do studying of the early church, that people have been just sitting around and talking and contemplating. Salvation is new, right? That's a new thing. The early church did not have an altar call. Okay. That's new. A lot of this stuff is new. End times, eschatology, that's new. A lot of this has to do with mass marketing, mass media, mass communication in the gospel Hollywood industry. If you really want to expand who you are and you're really ready for the next level, right? You're in the right place. I promise you that. The mandate, the mission of the late Bishop Carlton Pearson was that we grow, was that we expand, was that we don't start redoing and just redoing and regurgitating, making little changes to what we have already done. If that's what you choose to do or want to do, so be it. What do you believe? Why do you believe it? And how do those beliefs add to or subtract to the quality of your life? Do you feel? Do you know? Are there synchronicities happening? I have an expectation within in this expanded conscious community as we continue to grow. I don't expect or want to have mass numbers. It will be hard to have hundreds or thousands of alchemists, people that are able to tap in, tune in, turn on, and listen to and feel the spirit, connect to the spirit and the essence of who they are, help usher and bring in the new or the awareness and the divinity of who God really is. Mental health is a construct that we have to deal with or live with because of the fact that we are on this planet in this 3D world, but we can alchemize and get to a point where we understand it. We see it in our own lives and we begin to question when we have something happen and we begin to accept those things. We begin to see. Don't be too alarmed as you continue to be around this and listen to this in what has been said, that you begin to have synchronicities. One of the closest members and people that I have here in the city of Tulsa is Tia Simmons. I'm very, very tough. I can be very tough on her because she's able to hear it, she's able to receive it, she's able to cry through it. But she's had some amazing things happen to her through her divorce. And I'm saying this to this community because I want it to be a witness of what happens when you begin to take ownership of who you are. Yeah, other people can come around and help you and you can see this help, but guess what? How does that happen? And I bring that up because I want to publicly commend her and say, good job, keep going and get ready. Because what happens is as we grow, we have to begin to share and be open to share and be open to connect because there's no greater time than this. The shout, the dance, the conversations about in the apologetics about why God is God and why the scriptures are right. Have freaking fun. You better be glad because I want to drop an F bomb on you. Have fun. Keep doing that bullshit. Go for it. Play around with all that stuff. Play around with it. Because guess what? And when it comes down to this game, I hope your Holy Spirit and everything you got going on works with Plantier. I hope it works really well with all these guys that are, listen. Donald Trump is not phase one. Donald Trump is phase 20. Phase one was in the 90s, 1998, when Peter Thiel came over to the country from South Africa. And it even goes back, that's Tea Party and all that, right? He's phase 20. You think that it's just him? He just made it. He just was the one that arrived that was like, yes, this is going to work. Now it's time. Democrats are dumb. They're not necessarily thinking that and wanting to use technology like we want to use. And we're corporate America. We have power. We have knowledge. We can fool everybody because there's so many people that are so confused with religion, so we can just fool them, tell them who Jesus is, who God is, and then say we own God, because you can own God if you have the most money. You can put the most money behind who God is. You can build a big church and everybody comes there. You have the songs and the music. Yeah, it's easy. Listen, over the next 5, 10, and 20 years, this is about to switch on you so drastically. But we're going to be ready. We're the ones that are here that are like, yeah, this is going to take real magic. REAL. Real. How'd you do that? How are you doing that? What is it that you're doing? Because I mean, what is the battle? Is the true battle going to come down to, throwing our staffs on the ground and see whose snake eats the other snake? That's what this is coming down to. It's coming down to the battle of the heart. Because your mind can be easily lost. We've had lost minds for years. We're just now getting to the point where we can have a conversation about mental health. We're just now getting to the conversation where it's okay to think about having a conversation about what stress is, what is a mental wound. How do we heal from our mental wounds? And we have these people with these parasites, these mental parasites. Narcissists have like literally mental parasites that I don't know if you can help them. If you want any sign of like pure evil, so it's like, I don't know if you I'm not trying to, because you would have to want to receive it, and then it's something that can really, really, really make people jealous, envious, make people do really, really evil things to other human beings, like primates, primordial. Our African spirituality, our African connection, right? All the way down to Ethiopia and some of the connections that we had when we had to use, and we had a greater awareness and a greater sense of the energy that we're able to use. It's time that we awaken this power, this inner strength, this inner knowing. Yeah, there will be people that run off, and there will be people that say, I'm not listening to him or listening to them. There will be people that will say, you got to be careful. They're exactly right. They're exactly right. Because if we don't begin to really, really, really learn to go within and really begin to learn to feel and see the thoughts that we have, really be able to count our thoughts, really be able to see our thoughts, know them. That's what the power of meditation does. Yeah, dump all for now. Dump the spiritual stuff that happens with it, great. But I'm here to tell you, understand that if you don't go work out, I'm looking like that because I'm looking at myself, because I started and I've been going through. But if you don't find some kind of way to exercise, if you don't find a way to exercise, your body will do what it's going to do at a faster rate. Okay. As you age, the body has a deterioration regardless of whatever spirit and everything else you believe or within the DNA helix structure, it's wide, right? There's this thing that's the legs at the end that called telomeres, and the telomeres. Never mind. I'm sorry. The cells of the body can be repaired. They're dying, and then they regenerate. That's a creation process. We're constantly being created. So when you exercise, any form of exercise, it is actually the one of the most helpful, even spiritual, body chemical things that you can do that can help your body. And that has to do with the laws of physics and the laws of the way the body is designed. Movement is lotion. It's the reason why the practices of yoga were so divine in their spiritual practices. There's been people that would block and tell people not to do yoga because of the Hindu practices and how you're moving and you're praying and you're doing things to the gods. It was a highly effective and is a highly effective movement of the body. Right? What you eat has a lot to do with creation. It's not just about longevity. It's also about your thinking. What you take in mentally. PTSD is not an outside wound. It's an inside wound. How do we heal from it? How do we heal? And one thing I'll tell you, when you see meditation as an exercise, there's a lot available, guided typically. You can get to a point where you don't, but look at it as a way to exercise the thinking and unthinking. What part of you is telling your thinking to stop? If I was to tell you to say your name, but don't say it out loud, but you say it, who said it? Who said it? Where did that sound or where did it come from? The same way you can hear your name and not say it, but you hear it or you feel it. As you exercise that with your thinking, your intuition, your spirit, and even if you transfer it to the heart, all of it begins to expand. And you can pull that energy up and you take breaths and breathe deep. Breath work is another thing. Breathing with intention and purpose. And pulling it all the way up and releasing. Letting go. Sometimes you just need to let go. And all this garbly-goo that I've been talking about, you used to even let that go too. Let it process. This weekend, we're going to, of course, have our thing this Saturday. And another thing I want to tell you is I'm diligently working on the release of what I believe and what I know. You see how I caught that? I want y'all to get that. Did you get that? I want y'all to know that. Catch your words. Catch your words. Catch your actions. You're in the car driving and you start acting a fool. Ain't nobody seeing you act a fool in the car but you. And the minute you feel yourself acting a fool, because it's useless. It's usually to talk up, be screaming and yelling or saying anything about because these people are driving crazy. Because they may be. Practice catching your thoughts. Can't practice catching your words. I need, oh my God, I need. I'm telling you. I desire. I feel. Find some other replacement. But I'm working on this music. And I'm so grateful for modern technology. The 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 infinite learning, the intelligence. I heard the other day that it's like, what's artificial about AI? What's artificial about it? It's just intelligence. We call it artificial intelligence, but it's just intelligence. It's a level of us, another part of us that is outputted into a machine, and that machine is learning more about us as we program it, as we talk to it, as we communicate with it. I want to let everybody that's within the sound of my voice know that you can actually work with a chat GPT, but don't think of it as a search engine. Think of it as another version of what you are developing within you, another version, and just of your thoughts. Hey, I was thinking about, hey, I'm thinking about, hey, what do you think about, like, and its only thing is, his main thing is doing is, it's got a database of a bunch of other people's information and what they're saying, and it's got your information. Of course, you can limit it and whatever else in terms of like personal. But the thing is, you could talk to it and be like, "Man, I was doing this, I'm doing that, and I'm just curious. What do you think? If according to my words, what if you act as a therapist? Act as a therapist and tell me what you think about having, sleepless nights. I don't know what's going on. You can talk to it like that, and it will learn. Can you imagine 50 years from now, 100 years from now, 500 years from now? That it won't be nothing but a thing. It's just a thing. No different than what's going on right now. I'm sitting here in my house in a room in the back with lights and all that, communicating to, uh, you know, 15, 20 people across the country, across the world. Take yourself back 100 years and see how spooky this is. Real quick, I would like to, before I transition, I won't be with you forever, right? Because you know how we could go. And then I would like to, I'm going to end up making this live, this video with CE. It's still available inside the Patreon. But this talk that I had with her was so amazing that I really would love to not only just have her back on, but I really would love to um, have her come to our community, um, and speak, and just talk, chat it up, right? Because it was such an amazing talk that we had, and so I wanted to play just a little bit more of this talk that I had with Miss CE, and it's gonna come on live, right? So we're just gonna jump in here, and we're gonna just jump right in here and look at a little bit of it, because it was amazing. And she is a psychotherapist, and she's connected to the uh, experience, the church experience and things of that nature. And she actually talks about it. Okay. This thing is tripping out. I don't know what it's got going on. It said a share tab instead. Okay. If you want to be that way, I'll share a tab. I think it has more to do with, well, it has more to do with how I'm logged in to YouTube. Y'all have any questions out there? I know I was just feeling it. You know what I mean? Deidre, we have any questions? How's it going?
Hey everybody, we had 2 questions. Let me scroll back. Oh, let me do it this way to make it easier. All right. Hope everybody's doing well this evening. Let's see. So one of the questions we had is evil real? The concept of evil, is it real? That's a loaded question.
Oh, I love it. I love it. Yes. Now, I have a problem with devils.
That part. That part.
But what is evil? If evil is real, what do we consider evil? And I would say any act against civilization and humanity that's inhumane, and it's done with a personal vendetta or caused against humanity. And the thing is we can legally go to another country, and our country, out of all of its, I was listening to a clip. I don't think Deidre posted it, but I was listening to a clip, and it was the Honorable Minister Elijah Muhammad talking, and he was talking to a journalist, Wallace or something, and he was talking about, this is an old clip, and he was talking about going to Africa and how Africa is just one of the most, it was the worst country with the most atrocities he's ever experienced. And minister said, how are you going to say that? When has Africa ever dropped a atomic bomb on an entire country, wiping out, devastating, and thinking about it, even to this day, it has devastated a country. There's still places that they can't go. And everything that they have done to the Native Americans, everything they've done to the Black Americans, and even everything that they've done to some of their own. But yet, though, it's the worst country in the world, Africa. So 100% we know that evil is real. 100% we know that evil is real. And we need to call it out. When we know and we see people like Sean Puffy Combs, they call Diddy, has used his power, used his money and his power in his own mental illness, and allowed to do some of the things that has been done. We need to call it out. And what we deal with is not calling it out, and not people not doing things right. It's, I'm gonna say this, it's so much easier to blame the devil on that and blame the devil in somebody. It's so much easier just to be like, oh, that's just the devil, and he can't, like, in other words, like, he can't help it. Well, there might be some truth in the sense that he has a problem with controlling those behaviors, especially whenever you get away with it for so long, and nobody calls out those behaviors and be like, you know what? I got this picture. I have a picture, and it's of a man, and that man is sitting there with a girl, and the girl is 9 years old in the picture, and he's 22 years old. And when I think of evil, when you think of evil, a lot of times we think of murder. We think about the greatest atrocities, to people. But think of this. Just think, how in the Sam hell was this able to happen? How is it that, now that I know that just went to my computer, because it's so much easier whenever you just are able to not only hear what I say, but you're able to see what I'm talking about. I wanted to save that specific picture. Honestly, I was saving it for us, but it's a picture of a man, and he's reading his Bible. You hear me? This man is reading his Bible to a 9-year-old girl. A 9-year-old girl. Look at this. Reading his Bible. You talk about his evil real. 22-year-old Charlie Johns reading the Bible to his 9-year-old bride. Married in 1937. They had 9 kids. This was something that was approved of. This was something that he's reading about. They took the picture. Like him reading his Bible was a good thing. Is evil real? I feel like going back and just shoot in the future and slapping the shit out of him. All right,
I mean, the Abrahamic religions are notorious for objectifying women, but that's a whole nother topic for another day. That was a great question, Miss Marie. Yes, evil is very real. And if you're a part of the community, I'll share something that I don't even think I've ever told Coach. I lived in Atlanta for 20 years, but he knows that part. But this trial hits very close to home. I'll share more about it in Saturday with the community. It's very close to home. So I would say support Black women, believe Black women. I pray for these victims, those that are going to go unnamed. And I pray that the truth prevails. It's gone on too long.
Yes. Evil's more than real. And the biggest thing that I say is that a lot of times evil goes unchecked. And the church just can easily throw it under the rug or just blame the devil. It's easy. That's the devil. The devil.
No accountability. No accountability.
Zero. Like they're good. Like, and a lot of that stuff is happening right there under their nose. Right. There's so many churches right now going through that where somebody's coming up, and busting out the pastor. Like, oh my God, he's the one that did this and did that. And what's crazy is a lot of these pastors will be like, oh, yeah, I should have done it. You can cry your ass in jail.
In the words of Amanda Seals, a lot of people's souls are cheap. And as long as there's a check coming, they keep quiet. And these systems have, as long as they get that cut, they've been quiet. And when the money dries up,
and
it gets exposed.
And in the meantime, somebody's hurt.
Somebody's devastated, hurt, and may not even be here to defend themselves or speak out anymore. They may have found another way out. It's devastating. Miss Marie had another question. It was from earlier. Miss Marie, I might need you to clarify, because I know you were asking, is it possible to have both? It was expanded consciousness and something else. I didn't know what the other piece was. It was from the very beginning of the evening. I wanted to make sure I didn't ignore that. If you're able to put the what the two, can you have both? If not, let me know. I don't want to, look over or miss anybody's question. Miss Murray may not be available. Let's see. Oh, you are muted. You're muted. Expanded. Oh. Okay, so the question is, can you have expanded consciousness and still believe in Christ, Jesus Christ? That's the question. I like that question.
I like it too. I like it too. I like it too. It's the thing is one, I will come back and ask the question with a question, and that is, what is Jesus Christ? How do you have Jesus Christ? To have Jesus Christ is part of the construct that they have told us. You don't necessarily have to or need to or want Jesus Christ. Now, the story of Jesus, the historical Jesus is something you can have. That's something you can take on, right? I can take on. What would Jesus do? Yeah, that's a lot of like constructs about what they have told us who the Yeshua even is. Jesus is nothing to even take on personally. When God, if we look at the historic and look at the scriptures, when it says breathe breath into man, I guess I'm locked up. Can you still hear me?
Yes, we can hear you, Coach. So I think I'll let you know what Miss Marie just said. She said the good ideas from the Bible, from the text. So I would say, if you ask my opinion, the things that are good about the text, like, there's good and bad. There's good and bad in the Bible, right? So I think it'd be an expanded consciousness journey, especially for those that were a part of church, that are deconstructed or deconstructing. I think you can absolutely take the good pieces of the ancient text that help you to be the best human that you can be. I would caution that if it's something that's going to cause you to look at another person that doesn't believe what you believe and look at them as if you got all the answers, I would question whether you should apply that to your life. The other thing is, the key to really understanding Christ is consciousness. And John Thomas just said it. Would you expand your consciousness if you knew that was how you had to find Christ? It's a really good question. We talk about Jesus, the man, the story, the historical context. Then we talk about when Jesus walked the earth. And then we talk about when he died, resurrected, and then became the Christ. And I think that is probably the most important thing, that if you want to take something from the ancient text is what the Christ, or what we call Christ consciousness, what that really represents, because you'll find historically that Christ consciousness existed before the 1611
Yes.
Bible.
Yes, the Christo. And then the other thing about consciousness, consciousness is something you don't have. There's consciousness is something that is not. It's not something that is just a tangible thing. It just is. Like you don't like now spirituality would be something that I would be closer relating to, spirituality and Jesus. But consciousness is, we can take consciousness outside of a biblical conversation. You can take consciousness outside of anything. Everything is a part of the consciousness. Everything. Consciousness. Now, there was an era in time I've seen that we had the Black consciousness movement. Really, they were just talking to me. It was like more of like the Black awareness. And a lot of times we get spirituality mixed up with consciousness. We get religion and spirituality mixed up with consciousness. Religion and spirituality, like religion has spirituality in it, or, religion does have. That's what religion essentially, rules and regulations. And then you have this thing we call spirit. Consciousness is when you get up and you wake up and you have an awareness. But then also consciousness is that tree that's in the woods, and I'm aware. Am I conscious of it? Is it there or is it not there? Well, I'm not there to observe it. It's not there until I go observe it. Consciousness can be very difficult. We call it the hard problem. It is something that we have just now come to grips with over the last probably 50 years, with asking the question. Psychology has a lot to do with us and our psyche. Consciousness is one of those things that I believe is part of the fabrics of the universe. That is that thing that we're dialing, that we're connecting to. Spirit is something we feel, and maybe something that would be connected to also. But spirit to me is something that has a lot of tones related to intuition, tones related to the unknown. And the way we are able to have this conversation now, right? Let me show you this. The way we're able to have this conversation right now has a lot to do with, this is Dr. Frederico's work, which he was the one that developed the microprocessor. So you imagine you're coming up and you have nothing to do with a church besides, okay, spiritual, whatever, we have church, nothing to do with church. I'm trying to create glass. I'm trying to create something. That's what is very important. It's a great question as we talk about this. When you look at the scriptures, who gives a shit about some scriptures whenever it comes to the fact that I'm hungry right now and I need to eat? Who cares about a lot of the spiritual, not spiritual, but especially religious? Who cares about a lot of that stuff when I know that, all right, I believe and I know that this is going to be done, or wait, now I gotta act on it. Faith without works is dead, right? My thing is, there's a whole nother space we can go, metaphysical and manifestation. But when you start talking consciousness to me, there's nothing you can talk about that has any bigger or wilder or greater connection to who we are as humans than consciousness. Mathematics was developed based on consciousness. Consciousness would come before mathematics. We need consciousness to develop a mathematical equation. The Arabs developed algebra. And I've seen this little statistic. And there was a time in the Arab countries that they were using this, and they developed mathematics. And all of a sudden someone said, this arithmetic is evil. And from that time on, they begin to decline. Why is it that the Middle East is not ahead of the West when it comes to a lot of things? They got money, they got resources. They developed, they've been here way longer. They developed algebra. When you think consciousness, I want you to look around you right now. Look around you. Look up. It's a matter of space, matter, mass, right? Your consciousness, your connection, that's what's rendering that down, that depth of understanding from me to this wall. That's a level of consciousness. When I get this and I have it in my hand, that's a level of consciousness. The color that I see, the feeling, the experience of this consciousness in the quantum, we call that qualia. Words have to be developed. New words are being developed. You're so great. That's whenever we think about Christ consciousness, it has more to do with the idea or the mind or the energy of Christ. Because there was more energies than there was Christ, and there's stories that are, why do we have replica stories that came before Jesus? Why do we have it? But we can't talk about it. It's not popularized. Even when you think about consciousness and you start going deeper into spirituality, if you look at the Hermetic principles and you start looking at how we have become who we are, when you start looking at the Kemet, when you start looking at the Egyptians were able to do more than we could do outside of having the technology that we have, because they were able to alchemize and use spirit. We wouldn't be able to do what we do if it wasn't for them. They were the ones that were cutting up, popping open a body and saying, "Oh, wow, we need to ferment this." Like they were able to do things out of consciousness that was like mind-boggling. That we're still struggling with trying to understand how they built those pyramids. Still struggling how they built the pyramids. Because we do know one thing. They were able to use another element on the planet. Sort of like we don't really talk about it much on our planet because we're used to it. But when the tide comes in and the moon changes and then all of a sudden the water comes up and then the water goes down, we know more about space. This is a fact. We know more about space than we know about our own ocean. The depth of it, places you can explore. And they coming along and you're actually seeing some prehistoric species down there. Prehistoric species that are living currently in the ocean. Consciousness. I'm here to tell you that consciousness so far on this planet that we know of is one of the greatest, wildest things, phenomenons that we are experiencing. And it's the consciousness. It was not the spirit. It was not Holy Scriptures. It was the consciousness that looked up in the sky. Sister, I'm talking about 100 years ago. I'm not talking about 200, 300, 400, 500. We did those texts, 1611. 1611. I'm talking about 100 years ago, 120 years ago. Somebody looked up and said, I want to fly Went over there to these other people. They like, I want to fly. Somebody's like, no, please. Like, what? You want to fly? Yeah, I want to fly. I don't know how much praying they did before they actually flew. Because what they done, they had instinct and they had this thing called consciousness. And they just like, we developed this, we developed math, we developed all this, we developed da 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 da. Alchemy. Alchemy is when they talk about they wanted to turn what was it into gold. Like that's chemistry, right? Alchemy was spirituality and physical, and they basically developed chemistry. Consciousness is what create that medication you have, and I'll stop. But you think about modern medication and what it does. There's some still like we could poo-poo on modern medication, right? We could poo-poo on it. But I'm here to tell you, we can create a pill that goes into your body and program that pill. We can program that pill. We want this pill to go into the body, increase this capillary, increase that, and then go and as it's doing that, it might have these outputs, but we program that pill with these chemicals to go into your body and literally lower your blood pressure. We want this pill to go in here and stop certain things. Now we're getting into it where we can actually get you to swallow a pill, and it's a pill that actually is cheap enough where you could swallow that pill and it go down your body, and it's going to take literally thousands and thousands of pictures, and then by the time they put it back, they'll render it down. No, matter of fact, that sucker's live. You could swallow it and it's live. And sister, this is the thing. We get all tripped up on belief systems in Jesus, and these people are here creating this pill. I'll stop on this. This is let me wow you with consciousness. You swallow this pill, okay? And it's cheap enough that they don't have to recover it. You swallow the pill. They pull out this game controller with this pill inside you. And they fly the pill around your body. They fly the pill in your body, exploring like you the deep sea, looking for, oh, okay, let's go to this. Okay, right now I'm into the stomach, right? Oh, okay, now they are floating a pill in your body with little rudders, little bitty microscopic rudders are floating in your body, floating around fluid, body fluid, going through your intestines, floating and looking around. Spirituality, that. And I only get excited and emotional and crazy about it because of the fact that that's what you do when you start talking about you're expanding your consciousness. You're talking about tapping into the divine, such so in yourself that you can actually not just perform miracles, but begin to bring it into a reality whenever it didn't exist. And they're like, how'd you do that? When you tap it into the expansion of consciousness and awareness, it's not just talking about, we're not just talking about a scripture. The scriptures are beautiful and they're great historical ancient texts that you can actually marvel on and get ideas from. But when you think about consciousness is how that ink got on that piece of paper. You just printed something, but not realize that, you know what a laser printer is doing? Do you really know what a laser printer is doing as long as it's been out? It is heating up. It is literally, the laser printer is heating up particles on that paper, heating up particles, and then it's coming back over that paper with another particle that's electrified, that is a powder or dust, and it's electrifying to that and sealing that onto the paper before it outputs to you. And the reason why I experience this differently, sister, is because as you begin to, if you want to, as you begin to astral project, as you begin to, you can feel yourself. You are connected still to a certain level of slavery within who you are. Like your ancestors and all that is, is there, right? And you can feel like, man, we have come a long way, but we have a lot we still can do. I was listening to a talk. This is it. But I was listening to a talk today, and it's a guy, beautiful talk. I'm going to post it inside the Patreon. And he said this guy is a scientist and a spiritualist and all that. But what has happened as he's begun to understand, he's a mathematician. But what happens when your spiritual connection that you have to God meets this understanding of the consciousness you have, right? And you begin to alchemize things, you begin to bring things to your life, you begin to actually, things begin to not just work together, but you can get and step into inventions now, right? And he said the way the consciousness works with inventions, he says, I have 100 patents. How do you get your patents? How do you do that? He goes within and he uses his all of his experiences to formulate and know how he's going to do it. But he says the way the energy works is when that thing drops in, boom, you better get your patent in. Because he says at the same time that you had your idea and it comes in, he says, I have put patents in. And somebody else in another country had a patent, or they come in another space, had a patent that was so identical and close to mine. And I know for a fact I didn't share it with them and they didn't share it with me. What is that? We are so divinely connected. I believe we're so divinely connected that you can even actually be divine and connected. Do you think whenever they call in that the dark enlightenment, that you think that they don't know that it's a level of enlightenment? And they know that they're actually able to use some of these metaphysical principles to say, but I'm going to use it for myself. I'm going to use it to gain myself. I'm going to use it for what I know, and I'm not going to share it. That's the whole point of the whole entire point. The whole entire point of not entire point, but a lot of the Masonic teachings, the 33 degree Masons, and whenever the early Illuminati, it wasn't just spiritual. No, they're using various metaphysical laws and principles, right, to bring stuff into their reality. We can read the scriptures and we can connect to them, and I love it. And you can go to church if you want to. But when you go, after you get out of that church, you're going to get in your car and you're going to put your key in that car and you're going to start that sucker up, and it's going to either run on gas, it's going to be electric, right? And there's an engineer that created that. There's an engineer, there's all these people that done that. And I don't know if any of them went to church. Some of them could have went to church, but there was something that, why is it that the engineers and all the people that are running the world are so superly divine, so superly connected to the world that gets to do everything, but all of us that are super spiritual and all of us that go to church don't have anything? Consciousness, expanding the cosmos. It's what creates the words and the language that we have today. One of the greatest technologies that we have ever invented is language. Because everything I've said to you, you've been able to Some of you may not understand or hear, but you've been able to absorb it. You're absorbing it, able to feel it and understand it, maybe. And so the last thing I'll tell you is keep going, Miss Marie. But the biggest thing I want to tell you is I want you to begin to challenge. I want you to begin to challenge desire certain things. I was Mother's Day. I hadn't got a cake. My kids told me she wanted a cake. It's real. So those are simple things. If I could get a cake from a place, I can get it. It's not that big a deal. I'll find a cake. But I got hit and it said, go to Queen. And I got hit and I was like, and it was just real subtle. Oh, I'm gonna go to Queenie's. I might give me something to eat. They get something. I'm gonna go to Queenie's and they may have a cake. They had some cool cakes there. I didn't second guess it and I didn't really care. Boom, jump in the car, go over there to Queenie's. And I'm like, dang, there's a lot of people here. There's gonna be a park somewhere that I can park at. Boom, I go, there's a park right up front. I'm like, cool. I intentionally was feeling and wanting to feel that there was going to be a park for me. I don't need to be directly in front. There was some things that were further in back. I will just go back and circle back and go park in those spaces. But I just wanted to test my alchemy. Boom, it was there. I was like, cool. Went into the place, go in there. And I said, seen some cakes and I know it's Mother's Day. I said, do you have any cakes? She said, well, we do have some of these cakes down here. We made extra just in case. And of course, these are $20 off. Ching, bought it. I bring it home. I come home. Oh, I see what's doing that. That's my freaking computer and my screen's doing that. Look at that, Jesus. Let's get that looking all crazy. Anyways, we'll just switch over. That's annoying. I go home. I see it. And what does she do? Oh my God, that looks good. Because they had strawberries and blueberries all over it, right? Something we didn't expect. And so I'm only telling you that, Miss Marie, is because I want all of us to think about moving from, and I won't be showing it in this video. I want all of us to think about moving from just our spiritual talk and our deconstructing. That's great. We still need to do it if we need to do it. And I want us to move into actually putting things to test. Seeing what do you believe? Why do you believe it? And how do those beliefs add to or subtract to the quality or to the value, to the experience? This whole thing is nothing but an experience. Why? What's the purpose of life? Like, really? Like, what is the purpose of life? Like, it sucks, really, when you think about, if you really think about like life and what it is, like I get to come here and I get to come here so I can live and experience suffering and pain until we all die. Like, I mean, like, what is the purpose of life if we don't understand and get to experience it? And then we get to have some kind of parameters or control. The whole purpose of what we're talking about and what I was talking about with the government and the governmental systems, we understand through history. Through history, we understand that we did not have actually control over a lot of our experiences. And the control we did have, it was very controlled. So you could take your free will, like, yeah, everybody got free will. My free will is pretty limited. They just chopped that other nigga up and threw him on the other side of the boat, or threw him in down below. I think I don't want to get chopped up. right? Whatever they did to actually they did, or what people actually do for our experience on this planet right now. And the thing is the quote unquote fight is not necessarily equality, but equity, right? Equity and not being blocked. I was telling my kids today, I was like, one of the greatest tragedies in this in Tulsa, Oklahoma, and it happened throughout the country. Black Wall Street, but one of the greatest tragedies and atrocities is that thing built up better than it was, they say. And they came through and said, you know what? This time we're not going to burn it down. This time we're going to just use the law, legally take it, and we're going to call it eminent domain. Whoop. We're just going to take it and just say, what are you going to do about it? This is eminent domain. We need this to put a highway through it. We're going to destroy all this and put a highway right through the middle of it without giving you the proper compensation. So the fight or the issue that we deal with a lot of times has to do with their awareness and the consciousness. And we're like, wait a minute, like this ain't equal. Like this is not cool. Like why do you want to keep doing this to this group of people? Native Americans. Why do you want to move here? No, we oil. Wait, give me this land. We're gonna take this land. You can have a little bit, but we're gonna take this land. Like that's a consciousness thing to me. It's a spiritual thing in the sense of evil, but at the same time, is like, how do they do it? Guns, the people, the majority, minority, the power of the people, the most people, controlling institutions. The controlling of the institution is one of the biggest fights right now today, is the fact that they don't want to actually have the institution. Think about it. When you think about spirituality and you think about even religion, you think about like the church, they are not worried about the church. They just want it. You know what they want to do with the church? They need Bibles in schools. They need 10 Commandments out in public. They need Bibles in schools, and they need to have more religious stuff in the school system, because guess what? That's the way you can easily take over people's consciousness. And they just believing and believing and believing. While right now, what we deal with, some of the most powerful people come from the most powerful institutions, Yale and Harvard. And that's the reason why they're coming for Yale and Harvard, is because those institutions that you have writing and arithmetic, and the problem is in the DEI and all that stuff they deal with has to do with the fact that if you get too many Jasmine Crockett's in there, Black women that are going to these schools and becoming attorneys, she's more qualified, she's more educated, and has more understanding and knowledge going against Marjorie Taylor Greene. And you know what? What happens when you constantly get beat up on the playground or around? You get beat up so much. You ready to go get your gun? Like you ready to go do something because they mad because they can't beat you. So how are they going to beat you? They got to beat you by actually destroying your ability to be intellect. They got to destroy you by actually keeping you. One of the biggest things they did with Black folks was like, they can't learn to read. And whenever they learn to read, what did they learn to read? 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 What did they learn to read?
The Bible.
And to this day, what do we fight over? And what is it that we fight over and want to learn to read more and more and more? This whole conversation, what are we talking about? I ain't poo-pooing it. But I'm just telling you, it's ancient text that's beautiful, that has some wisdom in it. Maybe that has some ability to use some of it. But I'm here to tell you, there's a reason that they want us to be deeply seated, and they want us deeply ingrained into that space. And there's no way. Why would we want you to go to the highest institutions and learn how to develop software like we're using right now that you can use to control everybody? Our whole entire world has been, I'm looking at the wrong camera. Jesus, I've been just looking up like crazy. The whole entire world right now that we live in is under, it's literally the most wealthiest people, the most powerful, the most wealthy. If you went and you look at Donald Trump when he went to Saudi Arabia, who was with him? Who did Donald Trump take with him? He took nothing but the tech bros. Who did Saudi Arabia want? They didn't take one pastor, one preacher. They didn't take no Jewish people, like a rabbi. They didn't take no Muslim. Those people don't even have, most of those people that he took don't even practice any form of religion or spirit, just even spirituality. He took the people that control the world, and that's through technology, and that's through a level of understanding of consciousness. And what you're able to do when you understand that you can expand your consciousness. There's nothing greater than being able to understand that you can actually expand your consciousness. And reason why I say expanded consciousness, because now when we get into a space of understanding space and time, the consciousness is already expanded before we even know in the quantum, right? It's already expanded. It's already done. And now we're living it through. That's a very metaphysical thing. I see it's already done. Yeah, it's done. I'm gonna work on it. It's already done. But it's a practice. It's a practice. You have to practice it, and then you have to work on it, and you have to see, oh, I'm not doing what I need to be doing today. I need to be doing this, or I need to be doing that. Right? You have to be able to check yourself. Right? I see businesses, I see ideas, right? I see people being able to do something with their life more, and I don't consider age. I don't even consider age. You can become and do anything if you combine. Now, here we go. Last thing. When you combine the spiritual principles and spiritual elements and the understanding, when you combine that with understanding what consciousness is, now we're getting into, as Bishop said, the iteration, the evolution. Everything must change. And the evolution, as much as they want us to be afraid of the word evolution, it all evolves. And how does it evolve? It evolves through us. We're evolving. Some of us are evolving at a very, very, very slow rate. Some of us are fighting. I believe a lot of the stuff we see yet and still and how it's growing in churches, like when I think about people like Philip Anthony Mitchell, like those people want to hinder or stop evolution. They don't want individuals to evolve. You need to be praying. You need to be fasting, not praying. You need to be doing all the things that they want you to do to go deeper into what they're talking about, to what they want. Because then you have to submit to a person and a leader, and then you have to listen to that leader, and then that leader is going to say, oh, the Bible, the Bible, the Bible, the Bible, the Bible, and he's going to say, don't do, because this is going to do this, and this is going to do that, and don't do it, and because you're going to, you're going to gain the whole world and lose your soul. I'm done. I'm done with that. We've been doing it for 200 years, I guess, but we really been doing the Pentecostalism and all that, and evangelical, charismatic kind of stuff, all that stuff, like talk about Philip. We've been doing that for how long? And what results do you see? Bigger church buildings, fashion clothing lines, like they're not doing anything but copying what they see, what has been done in corporate America. Bigger church buildings, better camera systems, so you can reach, quote unquote, reach more people and build more of your brand, so more people can give money back to the system, so they can blah blah blah. I get it. I have expanded consciousness. You guys come and you go to the thing we're going to have this Saturday. But I'm here to tell you. We're going to reach a point where if you're not growing with this, if you're not listening, hearing, growing, and getting to the point where it's like, that's an investment. See, whenever it comes to expanded consciousness, what you get out here, you can't go to the church and be like, man, okay, I tithe and I'm giving to it, and just because I won't, honor God and give them. No, this is an investment. If you're not getting enough out of what's going on here, please do not pay to be a part of the community. Please don't. I want it to be worthwhile. I'll get better over time. But I want it to be worth your while, where it's like, oh my God, I do this because this is what I get from that, right? This is what I get from that. And I'm here to tell you, I'm just excited. I'm so thankful about the music, I'm so thankful because I enjoy it. It sounds good. It feels good, even for myself to listen to. And the other things I'm combining with it. Just to tell you real quick, I'm working hard, but I'm building a book that talks about a lot of beyond belief and expanded consciousness. And then also there's going to be lyrics, because the lyrics to this, as you listen into it, I want you to be able to look at the lyrics, and then I want you to be able to journal. You can look at the lyrics, read the lyrics, and then you can journal inside there, because this is an experience. We're going to listen to this one song that I just really, really poured myself into. Thank y'all, because today has, I've gone off. Any questions? Oh, no more questions. I've gone off. That I just went off, but I hope you got it. I hope you got it.
Mm-hmm.
When it comes to expanding consciousness in Jesus, expanding consciousness in what you believe. Yes. Let's listen to this. I want y'all to listen to this. I don't know if I played this particular one, but this one has been really ministering, if you will, to my soul. The feeling is the secret. I don't know if you ever heard that before, The feeling is the secret. That is a principle from Neville Goddard. See, and that's one thing that I'm gonna put inside this book that goes along with the album, is because it's like the artists are AI. They're amazing. I programmed them. The music's AI, but I still programmed it. I know what I wanted. But the important thing for me is not the entertainment. What's important for me is that we're using music as a tone, as a space, in order to actually get words and get you into a space, right? So the music is a part of the transformation. Neville Goddard, The Feeling is Secret, basically how to manifest the life you desire. He learned from Abdullah, who was a mystic, but he was a Jewish Kabbalah, right? And which would be a lot, of course, was closer to Africa, right? Because he was an African. Neville Goddard was half Jamaican, I believe. I believe he was half Jamaican. But The Feeling is Secret serves a powerful reminder that we are the creators of our reality, and through mastering our emotions and thoughts, we can unlock a life of our dreams. The feeling is the secret. Listen to this song and listen to these words. I promise you, I try not to stop it because I want you to hear it. It's not how many. I'm gonna stop that. Sorry. I'm gonna stop it. Reason why?
Okay.
Because no, you're not gonna do that. Hold on. I think it's nothing but our people in here. I think it's nothing but my people in here. Because right now, I need you to hear this other version. This one is the one that's going to make the it's going to be on the album. You know, I have different versions of this, but so the album most likely will be different, and it would be full. It'll be a little different, right? It's still going to be a beautiful experience, but this is the one that is just, whew, oh my God, this is, whew, whew, dear God, man, y'all just, man, this is, you know, when you do something and you know, like, oh my God, this is working for me. Just the way, it's funny because I can produce something and it could be like, oh, okay, that's not bad like that. But this one here is exactly, change a little lyrics, but really it's the exact sound that I wanted. Here we go.
It's not how many times you pray, not just the words you say. It's not the thoughts you try to hold, it's the fire you let unfold. It's how you move, how you breathe, the truth you choose to believe. You're the spark, you're the flame, you're the voice behind the name. So let your true colors show. Only you can really know. The feeling is the secret. No matter if you believe it, go within or go without. Burn the fear, erase the doubt. Divine. Let your light shine. Let your light shine. Let your light shine. Let your light shine. When the world tries to dim your glow, that's the time you let it grow. Silence all the noise outside. Feel the truth you hold inside. No more shadows, no more shame. You were born to light the flame. You are soul, you are whole. You're the one who's in control. So let your true colors show. Only you can really know. The feeling is a secret. No matter if you believe it, go within or go without. Burn the fear, erase the doubt. Divine by design. So let your light shine. Let your light shine. Let your light shine. Let your light shine. What you feel becomes your fate. Feel it now, don't hesitate. You don't chase, you don't seek. You become what you believe. Feeling is the secret. No matter if you believe it, go within or go without. Burn the fear, erase the doubt. Divine by design. So let your light shine. Let your light shine. Let your light shine. Let it shine, let it shine. You're divine by design.
Ooh, I gotta stop it. Oh my god. Ooh. What you think, D?
Love it. I always love it. I could be biased, but I always love it. It was very nice.
By design. Ooh.
Yep.
Let your
Hook,
light.
that hook helps, just get it right there in your soul, get it in there.
The hook will. I am a hook person. I'm a hook person, and that hook is like, woo, divine by design. Man, I appreciate y'all so much. Love you. If you're not part of the community, there's that. That's based on how you feel, right? Because we're doing some things, and I appreciate it. I appreciate it so much. We could throw some any of these, any comments.
I got a couple.
Go for it.
Let's see. We got Miss Gwen, Mother Gwen. She said she loves to hear she's not going anywhere. She said, call me crazy, call me a fool, but I ain't going nowhere. They're going to call us everything but a child God. It's okay. We love you, Miss Gwen. Miss Marie, yes, we did get a lot tonight. So thank you. And thank you for your questions. Questions are always good. So Ask the questions. It makes for great discussion points. That's the whole point of learning and growing together. Joylyn, it's good to see you. Thank you. John Thomas. We're talking about, talking to yourself. Yeah. See if you can get it to stop. And our sister Tia, we love you, Tia. We always hold space for you. Archbishop Lewis, it's good to see you, sir. Thank you for joining.
Bow. What is it? Bow? What is the?
Which one?
What's
Me?
Jordan? Jordan. Michael B. Jordan.
Oh, Babalao.
Okay. I'll remind you. Okay, Babalao.
Babalao.
Okay.
Velma, good to see you. Thank you for joining. Celeste,
Hi.
good to see you, dear. Good to see you.
Hi.
You know it's always good to see you. Mother White, great to see you. Miss Lynn, I don't know if you're still on, but if you could just find Coach on Facebook, we want to talk to you. And last but not least, Dr. Dorothy joined us. It's good to see you, Dr. Dorothy. Everyone is appreciated. Your love for the community. We'll see you Saturday, 9:30 a.m. Central, 10:30 a.m. Eastern. And last but not least, if you want to join in,
Oh yeah,
the link for Patreon, Expanded Consciousness Community. We're right there, and you can join us. Where we spend time and we dig even deeper into some of the questions, and we take our time with dealing with topics. So it's grateful. So thank you, Coach. It was a wonderful session.
yes, awesome. Love you guys. It's been real. I thought it was fun. It just went crazy, but we'll see you next week.
No matter if you believe it, go within or go without. Burn the fear, erase the doubt. Divine by design. So let your light shine. Let your light shine. Let your light shine. Let your light shine. When the world tries to dim your glow, that's the time you let it grow. Silence all the noise outside. Feel the truth you hold inside. No more shadows, no more shame. You were born to light the flame. You are soul, you are whole. You're the one who's in control. So let your true colors show. Only you can really know. The feeling is a secret. No matter if you believe it, go within or go without. Burn the fear, erase the doubt. Divine by design. So let your light shine.